Welcome to a special edition of Jesse Watters Primetime. I'm your host, Rachel Campos-Duffy. The son of Democrats' favorite sugar daddy, George Soros, is all in on Newsom. He just posted this picture of the two enjoying a big ol' hug. Maybe Newsom will give him a ride on his $17 billion train to nowhere if it ever gets built. It's only been 15 years and he hasn't even laid one track. So what's taking so long? Democrats don't want you to know. In California, they're introducing a bill that would shield information from the public. Democrats know it's a mess. But Newsom wants to ride it all the way to 2028. But would you trust him with your money? I wouldn't. The same way I wouldn't trust AOC to teach my kids history or geography. But that didn't stop her from humiliating herself at the Munich Security Council. Watch.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan?
You know, I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States.
Believe it or not, there are Democrats willing to defend this commie, even after that performance.
My mother used to say, don't spit up in the air, it comes back in your face. Okay? Check him out before you start attacking AOC, who, by the way, it sounded a little homina, but, you know, compared to him, it's like Mensa.
While Democrats are protecting AOC and Newsom, Kamala's been down under in Australia. Does anyone in her party even miss her? Probably not. And nobody's thinking about Tim Walz either. He's trying to fade away into the night.
Eric asked me if I would like to fill out Senator Klobuchar's Senate term, and I said I would rather eat glass than do that. So.
But don't worry. Someone else is dying to get a seat in the Senate, Jasmine Crockett. But she says she's just a down-home rural Texas girl.
I wish they knew that I actually started my political and legal career in rural East Texas, and that I served on the Agriculture Committee last cycle. So I'm that girl that actually can go into rural Texas, even though I represent the Dallas area.
Yeehaw! But another Texas candidate is stealing her spotlight. Her opponent, James Tallarico, who cosplays as a moderate Christian. Her opponent, James Tallarico, got invited on Colbert. She didn't. CBS lawyers reportedly wouldn't run the interview unless Colbert committed to bringing on all the other candidates because of the equal time rule. Colbert could have had her on, but he didn't want to. And now Crockett's feeling left out.
They actually told CBS that they could go ahead and move forward with the interview of James Tallarico. They just needed to offer me equal time. I did not get a request from the Colbert Show to go on. As you know, I've been on Colbert multiple times. And frankly, if we would have gotten an offer, that would have been great.
So Colbert wasn't able to broadcast it, but he did post it on his YouTube. And Tallarico's campaign saw a $2.5 million increase in campaign donations. It's not bad for a late-night appearance that never even aired on television. Too bad for Crockett, though. Colbert doesn't care. He's starting another war with CBS.
And for the lawyers to release this without even talking to me is really surprising. I don't even know what to do with this crap. Well, hold on.
Who knows, maybe Colbert is thinking about running for president, too. He sure loves the spotlight. And now Jimmy Kimmel might be getting jealous. He's hosting a fundraiser to help Democrats in the midterms. Tapping into late night can only take you so far. The problem is Democrats don't have a winning message. They're still obsessing on trans.
Those people are threatened by your strength, by your joy in being fully who you are. My daughter once said to me that those who fight against trans people are just jealous of the freedom that they have taken to be fully who they are.
Democrats are running the same playbook again. They need to start talking about what people actually care about. Stephen A. gets it.
the borders needed to be closed. He was right to do that, but only because Biden opened them. Had Biden followed Barack Obama's method and his plan and what he did in deporting even more people than Trump did in his first term, you wouldn't hear me saying that. But when you let anywhere from 12 to 15 million people cross the border illegally, swearing in our face, spitting in our face and telling us it's raining, figuratively speaking, by telling us there was no border crisis when clearly there was, emergency efforts were necessary.
Listen up. Stephen A. is a genuine threat, not just as a presidential candidate, but because there's more time before the midterms for other Democrats to learn how to talk to voters from him.
The Democrats need to take him seriously. He's a threat. If you're a Democrat that wants to run for president, or if you, as the party in general, don't want someone like Stephen A.'s popularity or people to start paying more attention to his politics, and you don't want people to give more consideration to him running, then you nip this in the bud. You start taking him seriously.
That's right. He's a dark horse for 2028. Don't laugh. Remember when Democrats laughed at Trump, another dark horse?
You, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
Well, they're not laughing now. And Trump's message is clear. He's here for you.
We inherited a mess, and now we have prices way down. We have energy way down. Gasoline is now breaking $2 a gallon in many places, and it's been actually amazing.
Trump fixed a lot of problems. He sealed the border, lowered gas prices, lowered egg prices, lowered prescription drug prices, eased inflation. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security or overtime. It's all a game changer. Don't take my word for it. Hear it from a business owner.
I ran that business with just myself and one employee. Then here comes no tax on tips. I was able to hire 7 more employees just by what she did.
Trump was hosting a Black History Month party at the White House today. The room was packed. Everyone showed up to celebrate the wins. Democrats want you to think that Trump doesn't care about you, but that's not going to slide.
I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said it.
Republicans have a problem. Sometimes you're a victim of your own success. You can't run on fixed problems. It doesn't motivate people to vote. One problem Republicans haven't fixed is the plummeting trust in government, for many reasons. Republicans are already preparing. Last night, senior Trump political command briefed its core team on the midterms, and now they're crafting a playbook. They're making the economy the #1 issue. More Americans want to buy houses, and Trump wants to make that possible for them. He also wants to lower prescription drug prices even more. He wants to keep cutting taxes and ban Congress from trading in stocks. And what are Democrats running on? Stop Trump. But they've been running on that for 10 years, and it hasn't worked out too well for them thus far. Just ask Kamala and Hillary.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.